Okay, and let's go ahead and start. Elliot Wave Sage here. Like always, none of this is financial advice. Always do what's best for you. Just use this for your education and entertainment purposes only. And just a high level market update while we have people to join. I was going to do this live stream a little later today, but I had time now. So I might as well use this time to get this in while I can. Because I've been pretty busy. Haven't had a lot of chance to do as many live streams as I had. And there's really not been a lot to talk about as the market is really acting somewhat erratically and hasn't really given a lot of good setups to really talk about as we top out. So the Dow Jones finishing an impulse off this fifth wave here, so we should see a counter trend rally going into the week. And this could continue for quite a while. It could go all the way into actually the end of the calendar year. We don't know how long this wave two is going to be. It could be a zigzag. It could be, a flat. It could come up and down and up. And so, but the point is this is a very impulsive decline in five waves with some bullish divergence at the low. So you would expect a relief rally bounce pretty soon here in the Dow Jones Industrial Average. That should reset the stochastics here. The 4-hour stochastic obviously had turned down. We saw the break on my last update. We finished that. Now we're getting to a point where we need to bounce. The daily stochastic, if we look at the big picture, the daily stochastic is approaching support. So it also could provide support here. It has not broke the daily cycle. The weekly cycle is looking over a cliff, down, looking down the edge of a cliff here. And when this breaks decisively, then the weekly cycle is over, and this should create a lot of like waterfall selling because there's so much pressure built up here as all the bearish divergences will play out. As you can see, you have bearish divergence, 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 massive bearish divergence, and if we do play out to the downside, it would be a waterfall sell-off. We could see something similar to this type of sell-off like we saw in the COVID lows, but not as dramatic, but we would see something like that with some real fear and panic. So watch this weekly cycle because like we always said, we could always extend. I think we could bounce, but there's always a possibility that this is a 1-2, 1-2, and then we get a massive move lower this week. The first sign that would happen is an erasure divergence taking out this peak on the 45-minute, and then also the daily cycle breaking support. So it isn't like I want to trade this bounce. I want nothing to do with this bounce, but I'm aware that I don't want to just start putting my whole stack in puts here because there is a risk of a counter trend rally. So you want to just kind of be on the sidelines and see what happens. So hopefully you made your money last week with the direction, and now it should be you should have took your profit. Now you want to wait and see are we going to get a bigger bounce here, or are we going to get acceleration lower, negate the bounce, and get a really big waterfall sell-off next week, going into the week. So we just don't know, but the setup is there on the weekly stochastic that the sell-off could be dramatic if it's mismanaged by the bulls because of this pattern here. So just interesting setup we need to keep an eye on. So here we go. So that's the SPY. So I have 5 down here with a bounce, and looks like kind of 5 waves here, but we really don't have enough data to know. There's some people on the internet that's like, hey, one more high, then that's it. But some people, are like one more. It's always one more high. There's always another 4 and 5. There's always another opportunity to buy the dip until there isn't. So don't be a greedy bastard, guys. You guys have won at the casino. If you have held all the way through this cycle and you're up at this area, don't be so damn greedy. You did it. You won. You did it. You made it. Why you went to, Las Vegas and run 9, 10 hands in a row? Why do you need 11th hand? Why push it for the 12th hand? Because at some point you're going to lose. And we are close to that point. We are close to a tipping point in the market. But every dip you buy is more and more dangerous, just like going to the casino after winning the 10th hand, the 11th hand. Okay, I'm going to leave my pot all in. Let's go for the 12th hand. I won that. All right, let's keep it going. Yeah, at some point your luck will run out at the casino. And I believe we are really close to that situation. We'll have a dramatic sell-off soon. Dramatic sell-off. And a lot of people are going to lose a lot of money because they're so complacent. They're so, ignoring the situation, the circumstances in the fundamental economy as well as the technical picture. There's max complacency. We have max inflows, max bullishness, max valuations than we've ever seen. It is way overdone on the upside. Which means the downside will be just as devastating when it happens. Then the technology also is in a sell area here, very dangerous setup, and could, this wave 5, I have it ending here. Could it keep extending? It's always possible. This technology could still have a little more room to go, but I would be careful just playing around in it. Again, you're just kind of pushing your luck. It is in a sell area that could reverse soon. And let's look at the stochastics on technology sector. So the technology sector on the weekly cycle here, as you could see, is kind of already broke the cycle quietly. No one's really paid attention to it too much, as you could see right there. And now you got this massive bearish divergence set up here, so maybe it looks like it got saved a little bit, and so I do believe that it will play out and then reset. So it's got a little more downside, and then it should end the weekly cycle from the March 22 lows. Let's look at the monthly cycle. The monthly cycle is very dangerous here. It's very close to the trend line. Look at that. Won't take much to break that uptrend, and every time we've seen that break, look at the sell-offs that it generates, right? Look at those sell-offs. Look at those sell-offs every time we see that trend line break. Right there's another example, right around there, right? Big sell-off. So you got to pay attention to the monthly cycle. The monthly cycle will break in probably the next 3 to 4 months, I'm thinking, but it could really break at any moment. And once it does, you should get a dramatic sell-off. And we're close. We're close to that situation, as you could see, very close. So technology is not where you want to be chasing the market. Again, it's very close to a massive sell-off. The SPY has a little more room to play with. Let's go to the monthly on the Dow Jones, which represents mostly the industrial, cyclical, financial sectors typically. Let's see here. Here you got a little bit more room to play with. So this could chop around more. So just kind of gives you a different idea where we are in the cycles. And here the grand super cycle on the Dow Jones, you got plenty of room before you break that. So there is, I think technology is at risk. And let's look at the Russell. The Russell, obviously the weekly cycle's close to breaking down. Again, hanging on the edge here. The monthly cycle, the same thing, very tight from the 23rd of October here. As you could see, we're really close to breaking that. Forget a bigger pullback. But from a longer-term cycle perspective, the grand super cycle here, we've got, some room. So tech is looks like the most bearish setup coming in, followed by the Russell and SPY, and the Dow Jones, not as bearish of a setup, but all should pull back. But technology should be the one that's really decimated coming up, which makes sense if we're going to get inflation scare. The Federal Reserve is threatening to keep rates pause rate hikes and maybe, I mean, I think in the future start to raise rates again. And I believe that will be the trade where it'll be growth will get hammered hard, technology hammered hard again. All right, let's go to your questions, guys, and go from there. And we'll talk about the market as the questions come in. All right, Alex. Um, I don't think we're in the grand super cycle 5 of 5. I think we're just entering grand super cycle wave 3. I think the wave 5 of the grand super cycle is already finished. It finished here. It topped in March 21 in a flat correction, as you see here, and bottomed in November 22. I believe that was the grand super cycle right here, and now we're in a whole new bull market. So this cycle was 21, so Bitcoin was invented in 2009. So that would be 20, that'll be about a 12-year cycle, maybe 12 to 14 years, depending on how you want to look at it. So we probably have a 12 to 14-year, bull market in a wave 3, but wave 3s tend to extend and be more magnified. So that cycle could even be, 20, 25-year cycle higher, which is why I keep saying you don't want to really be cute trading in and out of crypto, because if we are in the wave 3 of the grand super cycle, you're looking at a whole new paradigm in terms of trading, because this was a wave 1 cycle. And the personality of the wave 1 is different than a wave 3. Now we're in a wave 3 grand super cycle, so it's going to have more of a personality like we saw in prior wave 3s. Like you saw here was a wave 3, right? Here was a wave 3 of the grand super cycle. So as you could see, the personality will be similar to those waves, but on a much grander scale over a longer time period. So I'm not too afraid of what's happening here, other than, yes, could there be a pullback? Are we close to ending a cycle? Yeah, we are. Here's my count right now. I have a Bitcoin. We have this 4. It looks like we're trying to finish the 5th wave here, this 5. It really, once we make one more high with the bearish divergence at the daily and at the 4-hour level, Bitcoin could end this cycle. And when it does, we should correct this whole leg since August, and we could come all the way back down to 80,000 or even back down to 70,000 in another 1-2 setup. And then we'll continue higher. Of course, it could always accelerate, and that's my count. I will tell you there is an alternative count that people have on Bitcoin where they have this as a 1, 2, but this is a 3, 4, and 5. Then we would correct this whole move. This still wouldn't be the grand super cycle. This would be a super grand. It wouldn't be grand super cycle. It'd be the super cycle degree correction. The grand super cycle would still be here. It'd be a 1, 2, 1, 2. But what it means, it will go deeper and will come back down to the 50,000 area. But either way, one way or the other, whether you get 80,000 or 50,000, I think we know where it's going in the future, much higher given where we are right now. And yeah, there's some FUD out there about quantum computers, and I've even joked around with that. I said quantum computers will one day, really mess up crypto. But we know from prior hacks like Mt. Gox, like Bitcoin always comes out and recovers. So even if it wake up and some nerd in their basement hacks Bitcoin because they had quantum computers with some AI-backed, horsepower behind, brute force in it, and they crack it. Yeah, maybe Bitcoin will have an 80 or 90% correction like it had in its past. Maybe we'll be trading up here when that happens and it will flash crash down, but it will find buyers like it always does, and then it will just recover. And there'll be a new reason why that won't matter, or there'll be a solution to that hack or something. So we all know that's the situation now. But there is this out there. So Bitcoin, you can't be naive to think that isn't out there. So that one day you are going to get woke up with that news. That news will come out one day, and the price will flash crash lower because people will panic. In institutions, and people that put their whole stack in will panic, and the price will crash. And Bitcoin has had at times massive drawdowns early in its history. It has had massive drawdowns, and I don't even know if we could see it on this chart, but we've seen a couple here. Like Like, we went from about 1,000 to looks like $93 in about 30 days right here. If you follow this price action, that's pretty scary stuff right there. I don't know. I think that was the Mt. Gox news, right? Somewhere around there. So I would expect when quantum computer news that the they post they broke it. I would expect this is what's going to happen. You're going to get the same kind of drop, something just like this, and then it's just going to kind of recover, and then one day they'll figure it out, and life goes on. So that's what I think Bitcoin is. But Bitcoin right now, I believe, is in the wave 3 of the super cycle. It will be finishing up this cycle any moment, this wave 5, and when it does, we should get a big pullback, and that seems to be timed with where the market is right now, because the market's due for a big pullback, right? So here we are. That's where we are in Bitcoin. So I gave a little bit of a Bitcoin update so you guys can hear that. All right, LCID. Let's go to that real quick for you, and go to that stock here, LCID. Let's see, Lucid. I'm starting to hear people want to FOMO into the green stocks. I wouldn't do that, or FOMO into some of these others. I would wait, make sure oil is at a bottom before you do that. But here you have this final wave lower. You're looking like you need a C wave right here, and you have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it ended here. But you see how you broke that low. So we're still pushing lower, but this is a connector wave. So this is a connector wave. And I don't think you got the capitulation we needed. You see too much bearish divergence. So my guess is that we're still going lower here. We're still going lower, and it's just going to morph into a structure like this. But I wouldn't be surprised if we really entrap more buyers before we get a bigger rug pull. Here it looks like, if I look at this, it looks like there's 5 up here off this low. But I would call this 3 and then 3. So this is a very sinister pattern when you have a flat in a flat correction like this and like this and like this. So I think something like this, and then this is an ABC. So you have a flat and a flat. It's very, very tough pattern for day traders, because if you don't understand this type of pattern, you just are so confused. But I believe you'll see some more upside to finish this, and then downside, another leg lower. Okay, let's keep going. Icy. Yeah, I don't know what Google does. It's fine. It's close enough with the $9.99. But I do appreciate the super chat. Okay, Spotify. Let's take a look at how that's going. What's going on with Spotify these days. I believe we called the low on Spotify about a year ago on my live stream. Again, if you don't follow me, we get a lot of these right, especially on this big correction. Yeah, see, we called the buy area here on Spotify. This was a very easy buy setup right here. Very easy buy setup for long-term investors. So now we need to look at it. So we didn't get this deeper pullback that we wanted, but we need to see, was it in a run-in flat here? Where was the low? And that's what we got. So it was like a run-in flat here. So we need truncated. That's a very bullish sign, that truncation on a run-in flat. So we never got the entry you really wanted. So we're just still extending in wave 3. And again, use your imagination how high it could go, but we could use the market cap to guide us. It's only 94 billion. I mean, we see stocks like Netflix and others traded hundreds and hundreds of billions. And this is, I would say, as well known and popular as any of those stocks. So I would be aggressive buying the dips that emerge. And if we are going to get a market pullback, this is definitely one that I'd want on my shopping list. It looks like a 1, 2 there, 1, 2, 3, 4. We're definitely in a 3 of 3 here. And if you're lucky enough to get a pullback, you want to pick it up. But the market in wave 3s right now looks like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 5. So we have ways to go. So and it should continue to push higher. But at some point, this impulse will end, and you'll get another big pullback, and that will be another long-term investment opportunity. But I wouldn't chase it here. It's kind of too late for those that want to chase it, and you know. But I would say that if I was in this and I'm not in it, I would just hold it. There's really no reason to sell it. And this is one that you just kind of tuck away and hold. In fact, it may even be still on a lower degree wave 3. So yeah, it's still got a lot more upside potential here. And if you do get a big pullback, I would want to buy any wave 4s. Now, we are in this wave 4. Could this double correct? So there is a possibility, and I'll show a buy setup if we decide to double correct. So there's your 3. There's your connector right there. So maybe the market gives you a Christmas present, right? A Christmas present this week at 446. It fills this gap. And then if they do that, you want to buy the dip here in this area. And since this would be the first real wave 4 pullback, that would be massive support for the future wave 4s and correction. This would be the wave 4 support area, which would essentially be a floor on the stock. Even though it could just trade sideways and then go higher later, this would be a good area to get in if you've missed this whole move higher here. And again, we had to buy right here. It's amazing when I was covering this how many people weren't interested in Spotify. They didn't want nothing to do with this, and they thought it was dead. It's kind of crazy how sentiment can just change on a dime. But anyway, it is what it is. Nike, I don't like Nike. Is chart in Nike is a dangerous chart to be buying, to dip in. Maybe there's short opportunity in Nike. Maybe there's a short opportunity playing out. Let's see. It's been a while since we looked at it. We had the short here. It looks like it just missed our target area. And now we're down in 3. You see how you have 3, and now you're in a connector. I still want to see it go down to $36 in the future. It's got a long way to go. It's got a lot of... so if we look here, this looks like 3. This looks like an A, B, C for 3, a W, S. So we're in... So a couple things. We could still be in this connector where you come back up to trap more buyers. Or it's finished. It's probably finished here, and looking at it, it's probably ready to drop in this this wave Y to push lower. Again, just looking at it at a bit high level. Let's go to a daily time frame. You see this there really should put there. Let's just kind of clean this up a little bit and then put the W here and then a push down to take out all the divergences. So it looks like you see how you have a connector here and you have 3. So you have, looks like we'll want to have one more low, a connector, and another drop. So what I'm looking for is something like this, like this, like this, and then a bounce. Some kind of bounce. And then the capitulation wave. Something like that. So I don't like buying Nike. I don't like buying it. So I want to see it do that. And it's in a bear market as long as, let's draw the trend line, as long as we're below this line, it's in a bear market. The cycle is in a bear market still. Let's look at some of the other stochastics. The monthly, pretty low, pretty oversold here, right? Quarterly is taking out all the peaks. That's how bearish it is at the moment. But I think it will go even lower. There's your wave 4 cluster here on the grand super cycle, right here. So maybe we won't make it all the way down, but I think the better area to try to buy it would be right in this area at 50. But this is too soon because you just broke the historic trend line. You back tested it and failed. So I want to see more capitulation come out. Okay. And I think it's really tied to China a lot of maybe these tariffs are going to hit it hard because it gets a lot of international manufacturing. So good luck on Nike. So Celsius target, Thomas, I never like giving targets. I let the market decide for me. And you're like, well, how does the market tell me the target, right? How does the market decide for me? Well, the market decides for me based on whether I stop out on it or not. So because if you don't do that, you'll miss a lot of upside and you'll get out. Celsius is in the buy area. It's just been again, a lot of patience. We could be over this 5, could drop it back down to 28 here. I don't think that target's in play. So we could still see a shakeout back down to 28 before we push even higher out. We did come out of this low. We finally the bulls are taking control of this again. Now, the target, is basically as long as we're above this pivot right here, above 25.34, there's no reason to try to sell it anymore. You're in a new bull market. You're in a new cycle higher, right? And what happens is, let's say we do this 3, 4, and 5, right? We'll do this, and then we get a pullback. Let's say we get a pullback, a big one, like that. And then we bought it here, so we're holding through all this. And then it starts to go up again. Well, now I would say my stop loss is right here. I move it. My stop loss goes from 25, and now it moves to 30. And I just keep doing that until the market takes me out at some point, and it will take you out. And then you get all the upside. Now, if it takes you out, well, then this is your profit. You got this profit right here. And you're like, oh, damn, I didn't get this a little bit. Well, yeah, you can't get it all, right? Because then you're going to top tick the market. But what if it extends and you missed it, right? So you can't. So that's how I recommend trading it. If you do want to look at it from, the grand super cycle, I mean, look where it was. It was traded at $100. The next cycle higher, it should go well above $100, right? It should be much higher than that. And it would probably, more than likely, extend, into $200, $250 price targets in the next cycle, which could take years to play out. But this is an investor's accumulation area. This isn't really a trading area. It's it's like 401k funds. This is where you kind of tuck it away, and then you come back later. That's what this represents. But I would say you need to be above 25.20 because we've bounced, I think, too much. Like we've reset the cycle. You see, we've reset this cycle, and because of that, I wouldn't want to. You see, we just broke out. You have a weekly cycle breakout. So Celsius, a new bull market has just been born. And you're all getting to hear it right now on my channel at $31. And again, are you going to care whether you bought it at 31 or 25 or 28 when it's trading at 100, 150? No one's going to give a shit, right? No one's going to care. So don't get too cute about your entry. And what's your big picture? If your picture is trading, I wouldn't trade this. If it's long-term investment, you dollar cost average in this area, and you just hold it. But you do need to stay above 25.25 to have some risk management on the position, I would say. But that's what this looks like to me. And if you're lucky, this is 5 up, and you get a little dip next week down to 28, and you could get in and catch this wave 3 of 3. and then it should sell off and pull back hard, just like I've got here. And yeah, maybe the market will give you one more chance to get in before it moves out, and we'll see what happens. Okay, Serve. Hadn't looked at Serve in a while. Let's take a look at that. It had been pumping and then pulled back. Let's take a look. Again, Serve was in our buy area, and I hadn't updated the chart, so we have to kind of look at our price action data. So we're going to have to call this some kind of leading diagonal coming out and moving in 3 waves. 1, 2, 3, 1. 1, 2, 3, 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So my first guess, and we're going to have to look at the RSI to confirm it. My first guess is it's something like that is what I'm thinking. And see how we took that peak out there? So that wouldn't work. So we have to go back and look, and then what we need to look at is that this is 1, 2, 3, and put that one there. Put it like that, and see where it bottomed out right between the 4 and the 2, right there. That's where you would have expected. So this was like a leading diagonal coming out. So you had this 1, and now you had this 2. So now you're starting, a wave 3 is starting to take shape here. Looks like you got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you pulled back. So what's interesting is this looks like 5 down here. So this could be a lot of things. So the 4-hour tells you, okay, so you do have a wick. Let's go to the 45-minute. You see, got that bullish divergence. So you got an impulse here, which is what it looked like. And you see that big capitulation low right there. So you have 3 waves. So more than likely you have another 1, 2. Yeah, so the Surf has a 1, 2, 1, 2 setup right here with possible wave 3 explosion coming. But there's no guarantee. We could get a double correction lower. As long as we stay above this, which we did here. I don't think that's going to happen, but you never know what the future may bring. So I think this is the setup in Serve. I think it's definitely something you want to keep an eye on. And that should get you the breakout to take out this peak and eventually to these areas up here that I had. And yeah, so that's what I think with Serve. So Serve is just taking, it's just kind of building some momentum to come out. And I'll show a buy setup if we do want to double correct lower. There's a buy setup here. Let's take a look at it. Back down to 891. Is that possible? It's always possible, right? Right there. So I'll just leave it there. I don't think it's going to do that. I think it's already finished. And now it will push higher off this low. And of course it could retrace down and come up. Because I always show these charts, and then it goes, let's say next week it goes down to $12, and they're like, oh, you were so wrong. And then next week after it's at 18, they're like, oh, well, maybe you weren't, because they want it to just go straight up. So I'm not saying it's just going to go straight up. It could easily pull back here, right, and do that. It could easily give you a wave 2 next week or this week coming up. So don't get mad if that happens and it just doesn't go straight up. You'll be surprised how many dumb people follow me and they're just like, oh yeah, just going to go straight up, and they get so angry, and then eventually it does work out, and then they just are mad at themselves, right? So it's really funny how people on the internet are with trading. But you have to understand that this could pull back and then still push higher later toward the end of the year or into early next year. If it does want to do this double correction, then I think that's a good setup to buy it. And the market's really giving you a gift because it's kind of made its path clear, right? Look, it's telling you where it wants to go, right? It's telling you where it wants to go. So if it does that, back here it was more of a gamble, right? You were really gambling. When we had to buy at $7, it was a gamble because it could just keep. So this was a lot more risky. This is a lot less risky because you have a lot of support now here. Back then you didn't. So it's a very dangerous buy in here. Uh, anyway, good luck with that. Let's keep going with Hex. Let's see here, Hex. All right, Hex, crypto coin. And again, you know, I'm getting a lot of calls about Ripple from family members, guys. So don't be chasing Ripple. People that, I mean, don't even follow trading at all are asking me about Ripple too. I had someone said that a lady came to them in the parking lot in the gas station and said, I have something weighing on me. The spirit said that I need to tell you to buy Ripple or some shit like that. That's what they told my wife. And then my wife's like, what the hell's Ripple? And she texted me and goes, what the hell's Ripple? So if we're at that point in the cycle, guys, I mean, Jesus, don't chase it, all right? I mean, if you got random strangers going up to people telling you to buy Ripple, then holy shit, yeah, then the cycle's over for a while. So anyway, don't chase it, is what I'm saying. So Hex is played out just like we want it. Here's your 4, 1, 2. That's a 5 right there. It's really been very behaved very nicely from an Elliott wave standpoint. Very nicely. So you probably are in this fifth wave. So cryptos in fifth waves tend to obviously altcoins in wave fives tend to moon, and they finish. That's how they usually end. And they usually the wave 5 sets up as a 1 2 1 2 1 2 big 1 2s that and then it comes out. That's what I mean that's kind of what I'm starting to see here is that setup. So I look at this as something like a 1 2 here. And then this could be a couple things, right? Conservatively, I could do this like that. And then it makes another 1 2 and comes out. So something like that, but as long as you're above this low here, or even actually better would be this low, the market should push higher in 5. And your question is potential targets because it's a wave 5 in crypto and altcoins. You can't, you know, try to use the traditional techniques I use to upside target other than you have to follow it, trace out the Elliott wave, understand where sentiment is. When you start seeing it online, you know, you start seeing it on TV, you start reading more about it, then you know it's probably time to sell it. And you see a vertical like wave 5, that's probably the time to go. I mean, we look at the personality here. You see all that resistance here. My guess it's going to tap into this resistance here, right in this area on this push. This would be the area I think you'll get to and then have a dramatic pullback and then form like a left shoulder, a head, and then a right shoulder. And then I believe then at that point you can make a run for this area here, this support area right here, that area, and do the same thing. So my guess is the first target is this pullback, then I'm looking for that target. And these will be how the wave 5s play out, and they'll probably happen faster than you can trade and stay up with it, which is why it's so hard to trade crypto on the altcoins. You just have to be happy with the money you make and enjoy it, because if we knew the future, we'd all be billionaires, right? Because we all knew. But I do believe this is what you're looking for, something like this to kind of happen. We'll have to wait and see if you get that. So I'd be looking for something like that. And the alternative count on it, you see I have a 1, 2. You do have 5 up. I put a 3 here. What if it's another wave 2, right? Because you are early in the cycle off the low. What if it's It's a 2. It can be a 2. If it's a 2, though, I would expect another push lower down to this area. So we don't know again for sure how the cycle will play out. But if we did push down lower, then I would go with this is a wave 2, and it would be an absolute great opportunity to go long. So here you're aggressive, you're buying it, you're playing for the wave 5. If you do dump unexpectedly, know what it is and know that you'll find support here for wave 2, and you'll have a 1-2 1-2 setup, and you should easily come out of that. So it's kind of like 50-50. We just don't know for sure yet, but the first sign would be taking out this low right here, that you will get the deeper pullback. But right now, I would just leave it this way and then see what happens. You know, if you look here, you see how this peak is below this peak. So you have a 1, 2, and then I have this 3 here, like I have here, and 4. So what you may see is this wave 5 finish, and then you'll see a pullback off of this wave, and then you come out. Something. I think that's what you'll see. I think you'll see something like this, and then you'll get a wave 3. You'll get something like this. Is what I'm thinking. But good luck trading it. Obviously, it's bullish, and the bull market channel is right around here. That's the channel, and you're well above it. And then you even have a channel here you could try to trade against, right? Good luck. All right. SFIX. Keith, let's go to that. I'm not familiar with that one. Stitch Fix. Okay. I don't believe we've ever been asked about this on my channel. Okay. Let's take a look at it. Had a pretty big pump, and we failed. 3 waves down, 5 up here, 3 up, 3 down, 5 up, 3 down. So again, you know, I look at it. Yeah, we have to call it as some kind of wave 1, and we're in some 2, because you do have 5 up here, and you have 3 and 3. So this could be an ABC, but then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. So I think what we'll do is we'll have to say it's moving in 3 waves. So that means we'll want to see 3 waves down, and then a relief rally. Yeah, we're not going to be able to get a target on it. It's essentially been in a bear market since its existence. Well, since this peak here in Jan 21. So we have 5 down here. Right there's your wave 5 low right there. So that's 5 down. So what that tells me is you have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right there in an A. Let's just think this through. Make sure we get the right look of it here. Let's go to the monthly. Yeah. So yeah, I'm just gonna have to call it like this. This is the impulse, and then this is the counter trend. So we're in this B wave, but again, you have to move in 3, so we need a C. But this is very shallow. This would be like it's gonna go bankrupt, right? This is like it's going bankrupt, and go to 0. So you would expect B to have more upside, and it should move in three waves. So you would expect this to go do something like this, and then fail later. So I'd be looking for X to play out more, and then a YLA pump, and then the top and the connector. You probably want to get that when this B finishes, the weekly cycle to be back up here, and the monthly cycle to be back up here. So I think it's in a new cycle higher in a connector wave, and I do believe it's got more upside, but I don't see any trade set up here. So I think it's just gonna need time to play out more. All right, next question, ARK G. ARK G, is it ARK G? Let's take a look at that and see here. It's been a while. So we had a 1-2 setup here at this low, but we broke the pivot. So it set up a whole new wave lower. So it is a very bearish ETF, but it's showing 5 waves down now. We'll have to say that this was your B wave essentially ended. Let's go to the monthly. Look. Yeah, right there is where your B wave ended, or you're still in the connector. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's only 3. That's why we called this the low, because it was a 3-wave move down to here. So you're in a connector wave of some kind. So you're in some kind of Y wave that's ending probably as some kind of triangle here. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. We have not broke this low yet. I expect we will. So I'm thinking, yeah, 1, 2. Yeah, I look at this and I'm concerned that I think this is gonna push lower, bounce, and then fail again later. So the way I see this again, this is very tough chart to try to forecast, but I'll do my best here. Uh, and we're some kind of 5, but yeah, that's not going to work either. I'm just trying to think of options here on the fly. So maybe it's something like W here, X and Y. This is the only thing that I think can make sense. And then when that happens, this takes out all those peaks. So it's a capitulation move, and then it bottoms. That's what I think is going to happen. As long as it's below this line, it's in this. This happens now. If we trade above this line in reverse, then you're looking at, this is a massive connector wave. That you're still in X here. It will pump back up and then fail later in the future, years from now. But I don't like messing around with this. This chart looks so bad, right? Look at the top. That's about to break the neckline. Like if I drew this like neckline here, like that, you're like below it. I mean, that's pretty bearish, right? That will get you down to these areas easily. So just I would be careful buying this one. Oh wait, anonymous Bitcoin, are we correcting at 105 or much higher? We don't know again because we can never predict when the market will top out on wave 5. That's where Elliott wave theory goes awry on traders because they try to guess the top. And again, if you follow me, I can't emphasize enough. The market can extend. The wave 5 can become another wave 3. It could become a 1 2 1 2. It could just keep doing that and doing that and doing that. And like, so you can't like say like if this is a wave 5, then it is ready to top out like you said at like 105, right? It should top out around 105 if it's a wave 5. Somewhere around maybe 108 even. If it's a wave 5. Now if it extends and accelerates, then obviously it's not going to pull back. And then this will become a 1 2 1 2 1 2, and then you would be shorting the 3 of 3 of 3 of a grand super cycle wave 3. The most dumbest place to sell, right? It would be the dumbest place to sell as a trader. The wave 3 of 3 of 3 of a grand super. But that's, if you're selling here, that you could be doing that right now. You could be selling at the worst possible moment that you could think of, the way this chart is set up right now. But you just don't know. So you have to stay long and then just set your stop loss and let the market take you out versus you guessing the top. Because we don't know the top. No one knows the top. So you just have to define your risk based on where your entry is and how much profit you want to take, and then you let the market take you out. That's what I would do. So that's my only advice. So I mean, if it's a wave 5, it should pull back between 105, 108, and then we should pull back to 84,000, 80,000, somewhere there. That's what should happen if it's wave 5. And there's no way to know. There's signs as you start seeing divergence arrays. So you see this. We're on the 4-hour. If you see this peak taken out on the 4-hour, that's the first warning sign that maybe that's the market's accelerating. You already kind of have that here, right? You have this peak got taken out already. So you kind of watch for those clues. You will look for acceleration on the shorter time frames. But once the daily time frame takes out the peaks, then you know it's game over, right? It's not a wave 5 anymore. So anyway, that's all I can tell you on that. And then I'll go through the other ones here real quick. Litecoin. Let's take a look. If I can find it. I think I watched Litecoin up here. Yeah. So Litecoin did peak in a wave 1 here, and it looks like your wave 2 is crash correction. That's what it looks like to me. Just a straight down crash correction. And you're in a new cycle higher. That's what it looks like. You know, I did put this box here for my own trading just in case it doubled down to 82. Since it's a wave 5, wave 2, it can do that. So this is turned into a 1 2 1 2 setup, which makes sense. If we're going to go much higher, it needs to shake some people out. So this is a pivot at 101. If 101 breaks, I'd be looking for $80. But there's no reason to think that would happen. As you can see, it looks like we have 5 off the low here at this peak. We could still be in this wave too. Let's go to the 45-minute cycle here. Maybe put the 1 there. Tricky pattern. If it's a flat, it's finished right here. 1 2 3 4 5. And then we're about to break out, have a big breakout. So I think I would be more bullish. I would say that you really want to hold this 113. If 113 breaks, then this flat is a 1 2, and then you're looking to retest or break 102 more than likely, and then so it could I would just kind of hang out. I think this is the count for right now, and then put this 2 right here. All right, and then the next one is Bitcoin Cash. Bitcoin Cash peaked in wave 1. Here we had this 5th wave. Now Bitcoin Cash looks like it could take another swing lower. Here's your wave 4 cluster. It doesn't look deep enough, although the RSI, massive fear in the market. This was massive fear. Again, this is just too much people chasing it. Here, obviously corrected the whole move. So I would say this one, tough to say exactly, but if it did dip by, it'd be 409. I honestly, now I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think that can happen without Bitcoin really dropping. So I wouldn't be surprised if the two's in here, just like Litecoin, and you're off that low, and you're in a really good setup, a bullish setup right now to come out of this correction. We'll have to wait and see though. Not enough data. 45-minute does show 5 up, does show 3 down. I see that divergence, so maybe we're still in wave 2 here. Let's see here. That'll get you to 502. So maybe you could see a little dip here, the 502, as long as you're above 485. There could be a setup right there, something like that. 1 2 1 2 setup, 3 connector down in 3. It's possible. Okay, Solana. Let's take a look at Solana. All right, so Solana, is it still in that wave 4? Double corrected, it looks like. It corrected the whole cycle, this whole move. You have bearish divergence here. So looking at Solana, looking at this, let's go to a higher time frame and see if it helps us understand it better. Definitely corrected, yeah, this whole move. So you see this just was a real tight wave 4. It wasn't symmetrical, and sometimes the market isn't symmetrical. Like you just, as you could see, look at this wave 2. It took so long, but this wave 4 was just so short and shallow. That's okay, but we did correct this whole move. And we haven't overlapped this wave, but it's not enough extension to call it the 3. It's not this 3. It needs more extension. So I would just call this like another 1 2, just like we saw the rest of the other 2 coins here. And now let's take a look where we are with it. It looks like to me there's your connector right here, and then it capitulated lower. Yeah, so it's in that would be the area. So I believe again the same thing, that 2 is in here, and now the market has to decide if it wants to go deeper in 2, go deeper to correct this even more, or it's finished. And I would lean more on the bullish side than the bearish side at the moment, personally. But you'll have to do what's best for you. Again, an impulse off the low, and another 1 2, and this low would have to hold here, something like that. So that's what I'm thinking on Solana, and we push higher. All right, next stock is TMDX. Let's take a look at that one. They're really trying to pump this one on the internet. I know, I've seen that on Twitter. It is in the buy area. Why I wouldn't buy it here, because I want to see it hit this trend line at in the $52 area. You see how it hits it? It hits it. Cycles have ended. Major cycles end on the trend line, and this is a major cycle, right? This ended the whole cycle from the, so this is a grand super cycle correction, and I like to see it push a little lower, but since it is in the buy area, it could surprise us and like reverse at any moment. Let's take a look at the weekly cycle. So you see that weekly cycle. Since we're correcting the whole grand super cycle, you really need that weekly to take out all these pivots here. So we need more downside. So I believe more downside is coming. This will be the general area I'm thinking. I don't know if this gap is yeah, it's a daily gap. Look, I bet that fills, right? I bet that fills if that's a daily gap, right there. You see how that one filled. So yeah, I think that's another thing to keep an eye on. This gap right here, right there, which happens to be right where we want. So I would be. That's where I'm thinking. So like personally, I wouldn't go long here. Now, if I happen to click on it one day and it's down in here, I may throw my buy a lottery ticket and see what happens with it right around here. Even though I have no idea what these guys do, but yeah, obviously it's going to have a big bounce, right? Because it's pretty much been straight down from 180. So we know, and we know this gap will eventually fill too, probably right up here. So we know at some point it will come out of this mess. But I think it's got a little more downside. All right, anonymous. Let's keep going. Indo. I think with Indo, you really need to look at where the price of oil needs to go, and I still think the price of oil is lower, so I don't like to go into Indo yet and look for a big move on that. Although it bounced because I think oil was over 70 again, right? So it bounced. So it's kind of just trading with oil. And so we did see this wave 4 really push higher here. So what that did is ended one of the cycles here. So what I would probably do is look at this, and you see how we corrected this, but you see how it took out all of this, all of it. Let's go to the 4-hour. It took out the whole thing here, this whole cycle. So what it did is it reset the cycle, and it's morphed into a new count. Because of that. So we don't have this 5, right? It would have worked out beautifully, but the market didn't allow that to happen. So what we have is a 3-wave move, and now we're in connector wave off of that move. So so based on that, you could probably see more upside, but I believe that upside will fail at some point and come back down. So again, we're still looking for a push lower, but also that changes this count into a more aggressive 1-2-1-2 count. So let's go back and just update this chart to a 1-2, and now I'll be looking for another 1-2 here, 1, and then some kind of 2. And I don't think that's another 2 here. I don't think that's a major low. I can be wrong. But if that's a major low, if this is 2 and this will be breaking out, then oil is about to moon. And we're wrong about the energy market. So let's look at oil and see if we've got an early breakout or something else that's happening in oil. Let's take a look. Oil. So oil needs to break above 71.61. It's probably already pushed. You see how we broke through that? So see how oil did the same thing? It kind of messed up this chart. So what it's telling me is we're probably in a big this connector still, this X. So let's just keep looking at it. Let's go to the daily. Yeah, we're still below that peak. So yeah, so I will go with this, put X there, and then here we'll go with 5 down here for 1, or A, B. So a little more upside probably in oil, and then the catastrophe. And I think Indo will sell off when this happens. So if we go back to Indo, it should do the same thing. So it should pump and fail. So let's go back here. The connector for this 3-way move down, so we'll come back. Maybe we could see the 345 area hit, up in this area, and then I would expect it to pull back again. Again, I'm just trying to look at this this chart. Yeah, I mean, if I don't correlate it to oil, I'd have to call it like this, right? And I think this is what I said on my last update if we saw the breakout. So, and we do know the personality of this way this stock used to trade before I started covering it, ironically. It would go up when the market went down. And guess what? The market's about to go down. So maybe its true personality is about to emerge and it has nothing to do with the price of oil. So I think we'll just trade this chart. This is the chart we've got. We'll just trade it and trust the chart on this one and not try to correlate it with oil because it won't work. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So we'll just kind of wait and see how it 1, 2, 3. Yeah, so we broke that low here. We held that low. So yeah, I just noticed that. So this won't work. So then that gives you one more push lower. So yeah, maybe this is the count for now. And then was it broke that? Yeah, it's this one's tough. I'm maybe something like this. I think something like that. I think that's what's going to happen, something like that. So good luck trading it. I think it's obviously I mean this is your key level right there, 238, 222. This area is your accumulation area, so I think you just have to be patient and just let this play out. And then if it dips into these areas, you can buy it if you haven't done that. And but it doesn't look to me that it's like ready to it doesn't look to me like it has a good bottom for a massive move, but I have been wrong before with truncations, so we'll have to just wait and see. I think ultimately the price breaks 365, the downtrend line, then you'll get the breakout. So I think this is probably a place where it would get rejected somewhere there, and then you'll get that other push lower, and maybe that will then sync it back up with the oil market, where you have oil, where you get that push higher, and then the lower push. All right. MSTR again. All these crypto stocks are really looking for that final leg lower. So when you look at crypto, there's nothing to check here. It should come down here now. If we break above 456, then the low is in, and then it's entering a wave. Wave 5 will extend or become a wave 3. So it's right on the edge of that. So I believe that you see that it's once you break out of this, then it's gonna have a pump. The bulls will regain control. The 4 hour or looks like it's already in an uptrend, right? Where we know we're in the connector. We're in some connector wave here, so it's in a very sloppy area that I don't like to trade it, and you really can't predict where it's going to go. But this could be the low right there. That it may not go below this. Like this This is where I personally would buy it, but I would not want to play in it here. Hut again pulled back in this X wave, and more than likely that's finished, and we should be pushing up in Y. And now X, let's take a look, bigger picture here. Now looking at it, you see how we correct the whole thing there? Why don't we look at it this way? There is a possibility that we're still in this X, and we're going to jump back down to 22.95. It makes sense if MicroStrategy is going to do what I showed you earlier. So I think this is probably what we're seeing develop here, something like that. Because of this, you see that it corrects the whole. We're still in the downtrend. So this is still a bearish setup, which could push lower into this area, back test before you get the final push out of this. MIGI found a low here. We're looking for this move higher. I would say that it looks like to me you got like a 1, 2, 1, 2. Yes, I would just label it this way: 1, 2. And then this could be a lot of things. It could be a 1, 2, 1, 2. We could still be in wave 2, but as long as you're above this low, it should come out of this. But looking at it, I would be careful that, again, it doesn't do a flat and come back down into this area. BCHG. He did hit the buy area, and we went vertical, and now we pulled back. It's probably in another 1, 2 right here. Coming out. And then LTCN hit our buy area, went vertical, pulled back in 3, and it's probably ready to make its move in wave 3. All right. GSOL is, let's take a look, is in the buy area, and it's just something you'll need to hang tight in, right? And it looks like you have a 1, 2, 1, 2, and as long as this low holds at 17, it should come out of this at any moment. It should come out of that at any moment, as long as that low holds. Right, as long as that low holds. So some crypto looks good, some doesn't. Pick wisely, choose wisely, I guess. Broke that low here. So then you have it here. So 1, 2, AB. 1, 2, 3, connector, 1, 2, maybe one more push lower. One more push lower is what I'm thinking. Should do it. All right. Next set of questions, MSOS. Let's see here, MSOS. Should be coming close to the end as long as we have bullish divergence, and we still do. We're good. Any moment. Any moment. It may have already finished right there on that with that candle. Any moment. All right. What is this anyway? Cannabis. All right, guys. So cannabis is in play. If you guys ever, you got all this small cap shit pumping. You need to look at, you need to look into cannabis, guys. You need to look into cannabis for pumps, not pump. I mean, that's what this is telling me. The cannabis, penny stocks and small stocks is in play. That's what I'm seeing here. That's what I'm seeing here. All right. MSOX. Buy area. On any moment. Any moment. Like, yeah, it's there. It's there for the taking. You're letting all our followers. You're giving them a great opportunity because I don't follow this sector, but thanks for pointing it out. All right, UVIX. UVIX is showing that something very devastating it could be about to happen in the market. Dramatic. So you have this A wave with a connector here. So you're in a B. You're in a B here. So you have this A down, and you're in B. Within B, you have an A, a B, and a C, a flat, and a flat, which is why it's so hard to trade, in my opinion. And not only that, so you come down so you're in B, and you're in this B, right? And now you're in C, off the low. All right, C off the low. But the problem we've got off the low is we should be moving in 3 waves. So this C needs to move in 5 waves, right? But we're not going to get that. But we have a W, an X, and a Y connector. So it's going to be a 3-wave move connector off this low, okay? So it's going to be something like a W, an X, and a Y, which is a connector, which is a B, which is fine. It's a 3-3-3 connector. And so the 3 is you have A, B. Now you need a C for this move to finish Y. But the problem is, look, I mean, it should theoretically get up to $6 or higher. But you have, look where we're trading at 3. So you got to see that. So this has probably got a really big move higher coming in a very short period of time. My guess. That's why I have it drawn like this. But then, wherever this finishes, C comes. And then it should hit this target down here. Dollar. That's why I think the market will correct the March 2020 cycle. And maybe that's what this signifies. And then it has another pump. And then the grand super cycle ends down here. That's what I'm thinking with UVIX. But for right now, we need this push higher to come. And it could be building off that low. Let's look at the stochastics. The 4-hour is showing it wants to break out, right? It wants to break out. It just peaked out. The daily, same thing. From this peak here, from that pivot, from that peak, which is where we're trading right now. There, broke out. Weekly, you got this inverse head and shoulders that probably will get rejected, right, on this line. Come back, and then eventually come out to this area in the grand super cycle crash, at some point in the future is what I'm thinking. Or maybe the COVID lows pullback will bring the weekly out. The monthly, it isn't even move, like you can't even see it. It's so bearish. So that's the UVIX. So the UVIX to me right now is this. You really want this support to hold right here. This cluster of support. It needs to hold. As long as this holds, we should build out of it. But I'm looking for a big push higher, big squeeze higher of some kind. And ideally, we end up at $6. And if you're lucky, you get $8 with this B. The higher targets may not happen given the structure until we finish this entire cycle with this leg here. And then you can get the, I'm going to be rich in UVIX. But I do believe if you hold long enough, if you hold this shit long enough, And you can hold through all this, and you just, it's like a lottery ticket. You just save it for rain. I do think at some point it will trade in the $20 area I have here. Somewhere, maybe years from now, but I believe this will be hit. This will be hit when we break out of this massive wedge that I've got. Well, this wedge here that I've got. And we'll break out of it. And when we do, I believe we will come back into this area in the UVIX. So the UVIX is a play that you pretty much have to put in what you feel like could go to zero, like you don't care. Like it's a hedge, essentially a hedge. And one day I think you'll wake up and it'll start to move up 300-400% in one day, and then it'll just be a massive panic crash, indices crash, and then that's when these targets will get hit. Until then, you just kind of you just tuck it away. You're just tucking it away. All right, next question, Blade, BLDE. Looks like we got that wave 4 pullback, and that should be coming to an end. We should be turning at any moment in 5. This is pretty straightforward. 3-wave move down. Not a lot of divergence, but let's go to the higher time frame. That's a good reset. You know, I still call it a wave 3 here, but it could also be a 1-2-1-2 setup. So I wouldn't like to. I think this would be a good area where it stays supported. Okay. GBTC. Again, you know, that Grayscale product could have premium. Well, I don't know if it's an ETF now, right? I think it doesn't have premium anymore, if I understand how they do it now. But maybe I'm wrong. But you'll have to decide for yourself. So again, it's just following Bitcoin's cycle. Here you have the grand super cycle correct it like Bitcoin did right here. In a some kind of flat pattern. Well, this one maybe not a flat. It was like a 3-wave move down here. Let's take a look. Looks like you got a 1-2. So here this is a little more bullish because it has a different look than Bitcoin, right? It has like a 1-2 setup, 1-2. Yeah, see with the divergence, it was a flat here. Even you know, you just didn't take that high out. It was an ABC here, and then this was another 1-2. You see the bearish divergence? I bet that's going to get erased. So my guess is this will easily get to $132 or higher. I would not sell this at all. Maybe this is telling you, maybe this is the tell on where Bitcoin's going, right? This product is telling you that perhaps you need to make sure you know, don't be too bearish on Bitcoin right now. Something like that. And then at some point I would expect this smaller cycle to end and you get another big pullback like this. It could probably be another 1-2, probably be like a 1-2, 1-2, and then just keep pushing. See, I don't think this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You see where the peak is? You haven't even got the peak. This is the weekly cycle. You haven't even seen the peak yet in the Grayscale product since 2017. So we haven't seen the wave 3 yet. The wave 3 of the grand super cycle. Like that was back here in this cycle. So this is why I think this is the count. So Grayscale may be telling you not to be too bearish on crypto, right? Which we're not, and I'm trying to, but I know there's a lot of people online that are scared of the top coming in, but I don't think it is. I just don't think it is. Looking at something like this, I remember trading this back in the day. It's crazy. I remember trading this back here when it was like $1 or $2. It would just go up vertical every day. It was so easy to make money in this thing when it was doing this. Those were the days. I bet that's going to happen again when we hit the wave 3. You'll be up 25% a day every day. I'll just go up 20% every day. I mean, that's what was happening back here. It was crazy. Those were the days. I hope to see that again. Maybe one day we'll get that again. You see that breakout too? Chart pattern traders, right? It's not perfect, but you got this breakout. Maybe some people would call it bearish because it's going to come back. I guess if you fail, let's say you go back below 65, I would be worried of a fall of a big unravel. But anyway, good luck. Riot is been weak for whatever reason in this run so far, and I had my eye on, we had the buy here, guys, at 644. We went up on 5 to 16. We pulled back, and looks like in 5 waves with a connector, which is why I have the next buy area at $9. There's your wave 4 support. So I'm looking for $8. I'm looking for this area. This would be the next area to buy it. And I think that's going to happen looking at this chart, something like that. Okay? But we're in B. So B could play, you know, and then drop. Okay, Cisco. Cisco here is another one that I don't think I get asked a lot about Cisco. Let's see what we got going on here. So we didn't get to that area. Not sure what that box represented. Let's take a look here. All right, so we broke out the high all those years. Again, we'll need eventually the wave 3 will take out that peak on the monthly and the weekly time frame. Let's look at the weekly eventually. So if you look at this chart, my guess is this whole impulse is going to correct, and then there'll be a massive pump. That's what I'm thinking. Well, let's see here. Quarterly. See, we may have already corrected that. Actually, that may be the wave 4 here. So very tough chart in terms of like what degree we're in. We haven't seen, we're not in this 3 is still not out. We're still in a 1-2-1-2 setup. The question is what degree are we in? We'll just kind of label it and see here. But you see that's only in 3. So let's label that wave 3 and just make sure we have it. So we just kind of label this and see where we end up. Yeah, so could be a couple things. I could put the 3 here, the 4 here, and we're still in 5. And then we pull back. We do something like that. And then there's a big pullback down to this area, $30. And then you have a 1-2, 1-2, and then you're out. That's probably what I would think is the most likely path. And then this is like another like really big cup and handle type. Like you get, maybe false breakouts and then you get a big pullback, cup, handle, out. That's what I'm thinking. We'll see in a 1-2, 1-2 setup. Uh, there's another count that you could say, is it a 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, that super bullet? It just doesn't align with the rest of the prediction for the stock market. So I don't think that's the count, but I do respect that that's possible. But I don't think it's I don't think that's gonna happen. Let's look here. You see the quarterly just wants to break out, and I think it's gonna get rejected there, and then we'll reset this cycle on this pullback. That's what I think's gonna happen right now. Long-term forecast with the break of the high is very bullish with this pattern. What's its market cap? 233 bill. Yeah, this will probably be $1 trillion company in the future. We could try to draw a channel, right, somehow like that, and yeah. So maybe this pullback won't be as deep. So I think we could recognize the fact that there is a chance. So I'll show this label on this too. If I show this, I could put, maybe I put, see, that won't quite work. Let's go back. Maybe this finishes, and then it's a very shallow pullback down to 51 and come out. See, this is another possibility, more bullish. Something like that is possible. So that's another one. We just don't know. Unfortunately, what do I think? I think it depends on the stock market forecast overall. If it's this, then the markets are not really going to pull back anytime soon. The markets are just going to keep going higher. With the March 2020 cycle won't correct. That's what this chart tells me. The other chart is the correction of the March 2020 cycle, which is what I think is going to happen. So I'll go back to that chart. So you'll have to decide what's best for you. I think from a market timing standpoint, I think the markets do a big pullback, and I do believe that will affect this. It'll turn it into this type of pattern, and they'd be looking for this area around the 30s to get tagged to correct this whole move from this low, just like that, and then out, something like that. That's what I'm thinking. Long-term forecast could be a great investment opportunity. All right, next is render and ing. If that is it, we don't have enough. Oh, that's still not the one we want. Okay, so something like this, like this, like this, like that. See that low? So we could be, it could be ready to roll now off of this low. If it does, so we don't know the area, but I do think it's more upside coming. There is a buy setup if it does want to drop again down at 595 if it does go that low. But as long as you're above 773, it could explode higher really at any moment. And that should come up in an ABC, fashion. And then that will finish the pump. ING. Right, ING came off the low and looks like a 1-2-1-2 setup. Again, we had to buy exactly where we needed it on that. I think you have to label it this way. So this is tough because this is the safe labeling, and then you dip back down to 20, and this resets the whole cycle, and it's a 1-2-1-2. Or you could even see, I wouldn't put that 3 there because I don't think it rallied enough off the high. But I mean, I'll just write it the more conservative view. This is like the more conservative view. And then, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's a 1-2-1-2 setup and it comes out much higher than this. But that's the setup. As long as you're above 2387, this is the count on that. Let's see how NVAX is doing. I said watch that trend line, and we're right there. It looks like it. More than likely, it's finished right there, right? But it technically hasn't happened. I've seen so many rejections before on these trend lines, so technically you could still get one more leg lower, right, and be in an A, a B, and a C. So not until you really break above that 949, this is still in play. So I still would be careful. But it is at a very interesting moment. To see if it can break it. But I would be careful. I would say we'll know the week coming up what's going to happen. Either a massive move lower is about to happen to finish this, or it will break out and then 2 is done early. Next is Siltronic. All right, let's take a look at that one. SLTCY, Siltronic. Not a lot of data, so we really can't analyze it properly. There's just not enough data. I'm not sure what's going on with the trading view on it, so I wish I could help you, unless you could tell me there's a different symbol or another way to pull up the data. Let me make sure I typed it in like SLTCY. Maybe I typed it in wrong. No, there it is. SLTCY. Yeah, there's not enough data in TradingView. Sorry about that. Hang Seng Index. Hang Seng is China, and we are looking at a big decision point next week. So we got the 3-wave move, we got a connector. So the next area is if it were to break down, will be 16,749, and then we'll get another bounce like we had earlier. So it could do something like this, and then bounce again. The other option is it won't. It'll continue higher. So it's in an area that the market has not decided. It looks like just 3 waves. Looks like there could be more downside on the short term. So it's indecisive. I think the biggest clue to know where China is going to go is the dollar index. So if you go to the dollar index, is the dollar index ready to break down? And I think it can be. as long as we're below 108.07. Now, if we get this leg lower, I believe that will be beneficial to China. If we can't get this leg lower and we continue higher and we take this out, then China's gonna fail. The rally's gonna go down to that 15,000 area and retest the lows. So the move, we got the move we wanted, and now it's sidelines on China and let the market decide. Like the move was here, where on my live stream, I think we gave that move, and literally that morning we got that, and now the move's over, right? So hopefully you took some profit. Now we gotta wait and see what we're doing, and I think you'll have to wait and watch the dollar index. Perhaps another way to time the bounce is when it drops back down to 19,574. So this would be an area right here where it could potentially continue higher if it's going to do that in this W. So that's another area we can watch it, and then perhaps get a reversal. So I would be watching the next area to buy China is right here at 19,005 Hang Seng Index, as long as it's above 19,000. That's the setup. All right, next we'll keep going. Lunar and Cubits. Let's see here. Intuitive machines. All right, so it looks like we had this pump nailed, right? Look, we had the buy area exactly where we needed it to be. We got the 3 breakout. Now where we're going. So we have a lot of overlapping waves here. So it's just another 1-2, 1-2 setup. That's what it looks like to me. A 1-2, 3, 4, 5, a 1-2, 1-2 setup. Here, 1, 2. And so there's a connector wave. My guess is that's going to fail. And I'll show a new buy area setup on this for it. $7.60 right here. So that'll be the new next buy area opportunity. And the pump should continue higher. My guess is it will, because we hadn't taken out these RSI peaks yet. Let's look at the daily. See, we'll take all those out. So yeah, so this to me is another opportunity to go long. And if we can get this dump down here like that to correct that move in a 1-2, 1-2. So keep an eye on that one. We'll keep an eye on that one. All right, and next is Cubits. Cubits, I gave a Twitter alert on that, and that played out nicely on Friday while the market was pretty much shit. There's the buy area I gave. Again, it was, I think the shorts were just so frustrated, but the setup is really actually safe targets at $6, but I wouldn't be surprised if it really extends much higher than that. I'm looking at a 1-2, 1-2, 1-2 setup. And the reason for that is the wave 3, I think the wave 3 peaks. Let me see here if I can, why did I call it that setup? Let me see here. Yeah, so the shorter time frames, if I look at the wave 3 peaks, we really want to be much higher than you see these peaks, like we really want to be higher than that. So I think we will get there. I think we'll get there. The weekly and monthly do concern me a little bit. We keep erasing divergence. So I would just go with this count for now. So that's the count I'm going with right now on it. So now we have 2 pivots at 371. As long as those hold, I would not think of trading out of it, and just let the market take it from there. But I believe it's in it's got a wave 3 price action. Yeah, it looks like that would be the 2 right there. So something like that, and this was a flat. Yeah, you see this peak hasn't taken that peak out. That's why I don't think we've seen the wave 3 in this cycle yet. That's why I have it labeled that way. So let's say it's a 1, 2, and I did for a minute think it was a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I thought that was the case. And let's just say if that's the case and it's a 5 and we're a 5 here and it's a 1, 2 and we corrected this whole move. Let's say it does take another dip down to 351. It's still going to be on the hops because of that. It still isn't, it's still got a lot more pump left in it. And I believe this is like an A, B, C now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we're coming off of that. All right. So I don't like buying in any of those sectors, energy. Well, I'm sorry, I don't like buying energy right now. Um, and the energy sector, we haven't seen it hit yet. We haven't seen the lows hit. So let's see here. Devon Energy. Target's 25. So we're just not there yet. So I'd be looking for a bounce play though soon, right? Boom. So I think that's something like that's going to happen. Or it'll do an ABC, but one way or the other, I think it's got more downside. I'm not interested in buying it yet. And we've had this target for a while. Zimmer, I warned everyone about that flat, and I believe a lot of people were scared about that. So Zimmer. So it could be a couple things, right? We could have this bigger flat here in play. I'm not sure if TradingView cut off the data or what's going on here. So we could have this bigger flat in play where it drops all the way back down to this area like I have it here. Or it's the smaller degree flat. We just don't know. It looks to me, given where energy needs to go, that I would be looking for the bigger flat, the bigger pattern here. Let me see here. 1, 2. Yeah, I don't know what happened, what TradingView did. It screwed up my chart here. There. So like 1547, something like that. So I'd be looking for, I'm still looking for this to play out like this because of where I think the price of oil and energy is going. And then, let's see, CVS, wasn't that close to our buy area? I think CVS is close to a buy area. Yeah, it hit our buy area finally. CVS hit our buy area. I think someone followed me, thought that would never happen. Well, it looks like it did happen. And I know sometimes these sell-offs seem so hard to believe when when you're trading so high in price, and it isn't fair. The market is not fair a lot of times. Let's look at, again, I don't know what TradingView messed my chart up. Let's just go back and do this one again. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're correcting the whole grand super cycle, obviously. So something like that, right? And then yeah, still looking at it here. I just want to take another look at it. Yeah, I think my chart was messed up when I first clicked on it. It's not in the binary yet. The binary is $40. Yeah, $40 right there. So I'm not sure what happened with trading view on that chart, but this is where I would be looking to buy it. Something like that. So that's what I'd be looking for. Some more downside. You see I have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and you're in that third wave down now. So now I would be looking for an impulse down here, 1, 2, 1, 2. So it looks like you just need a little bit more downside. You'll want to that will want to come down and take out all those, and then that should do it. And then ALCS. What is that? So that's another one. I don't think either the symbol's a typo or I can't look at that, so we'll have to come back to that. Okay, the GME. I'll see if I can find it on Solana. I don't know if TradingView has that. If it does, great. Yeah, I'm not familiar with that. I don't know how to pull that up. So you can put in the comments, Alwyn, how to do that, and I'll do it. And okay, I meant ACLS. Okay, I'll go back to that. So this is a good example of a bounce failing, and now it's taken a double correction lower. And in some ways, we should have expected that given where the wave 4 is. That's always a clue on where the market will find support. And so it failed. So the new area to buy it uh, would be at $52, right where the wave 4 is. So again, looking for more downside. In an impulse, it looks like you got a 1, 2, 1, 2. It looks like you're in wave 3, like the first wave 4 of 3. So maybe you may not make it all the way down there, but you should get pretty close. You got a lot of good capitulation on the daily there. It would be nice to get a little bit more on the weekly. So yeah, it looks like some kind of just zigzag correction took shape down, and I'd be looking for that area. My dad had a bet, do you work a corporate job or self-employed? I do work a regular job on and off. Sometimes I don't have one. Right now I do, and I'm in the situation where I don't have to work. I work when because I want to. So which is always nice because I do something I like to do, and I get to travel a lot, which is nice. So you know, but yeah, just that takes up my time right now. Lemonade. Let's take a look here. LM LMND. Lemonade is let's see here. Probably pulling back in some kind of wave 4 here. Let's see what happened with it. Yes, we finished this cycle right here. Let's look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5. So we corrected this whole move. So you see that divergence. So this ended up being a 5. So it's a little too, we were a little too bullish on it. So this was actually a 3 and a 4 and a 5. And now let's see if that's a wave 4 or not. See how we haven't taken that peak out, but we're pretty high on that cycle. So I'm going to still call that a wave 3 here, and that's a 4. So we should be looking for support on this at 37.89. So it's close. And then more upside. All right. Silver is tricky at the moment. I did post an update with silver a long time ago. Here it is. Buy it there, right? I think that's what I had on my Twitter. And it looks like that's what it wants to do, but you know, right there. So are we making that final push lower? I think it looks like we're doing that. It's pretty bearish price action right here, but we could still be in a connector wave off this low. So I mean, we could still do I could still put it like this, and then do something like where this is like an A, B, C, and we still come back up to this area and then drop later, which I would say I want to do that as long as gold is above its pivot. As long as gold is above this low and hasn't made its wave 5, I want to say silver should also push higher. I want to be more aggressive, like, and have it do something. Actually, I'll be up at 3, so you won't get the 4 and 5, but basically something like that. And when silver's up here, gold should be at a new high, but its final high before a dramatic pullback is what I'm thinking. Unless it erases divergence, which it can easily do. And then UUU is pretty much ready to roll. I think it's ready to move higher. The whole sector is ready to go here at any moment. It's got this wedge that should be close to finishing up at any moment in this 1-2, 1-2 setup. You do have bullish divergence here, so it was a flat, and so this should be the 4-hour. You have a daily. You have a lot of good cycles coming to an end here. Now, I still think it's the count overall is a 1-2, 1-2, and we come out. Could it be a bigger wave too, where it's an A, B, C? It's possible, but this low is probably not going to be broken, no matter what happens. But I'd be really surprised to see it break this low here. So I do think this is a good setup right now in the market for long trade. Ethereum, I haven't been asked Ethereum, which is funny, is people aren't really paying attention to it, I think. But basically, we're looking at Ethereum in this 1-2. Here you have only a 3-wave move. So here you could have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again, remember Bitcoin is at a 5 off the low of 22 or not. So I'm still not going with that. So we'll line it up with Bitcoin's count. So Bitcoin's count, we would do something like this, right? And then we would say that this is a 1, 2, and it's ready to go vertical. And that would really pump the altcoins, right? Because that's typically the king of altcoins, right? Is Ethereum. So something like this. Looks like the count to me that I'm seeing play out. So maybe this cycle's coming to an end soon. To be conservative, and we'll get a pullback here. So we have to be careful, but it could also be a 1-2 and just keep going. But I think it's ready to break out. If you look at this, it looks like it wants to break out of this pattern. Almost looks like an inverse head and shoulders look, right? To it of some kind. So I think we're almost there, or if not there. So good luck on that. Neo, let's take a look at how Neo's doing. It's just on my technology sector. Oh, there it is. So Neo, you have to call that the wave 2 because there's just no more room left. So if that's the case, we should be moving higher off this low. Now the other thing this could be is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in some kind of weird flat pattern here. But if you look, it still looks like 5 down to me. So we didn't bounce enough. So I'm thinking this is what I'm thinking. Something like that. I'm thinking something like that. Like where we bounce, where bounce is coming. Okay, let's keep going. Uber should be close to the buy area. Uber should be close to a buy area on that rug pull that we predicted would happen. We're almost there. So we're close, but just not there yet. Almost there. So just it's got I would want push it more lower. MU Micron is showing us not to get too giddy about the stock market right now because Micron should so if this is the count, let's say if Micron topped at 115, then Micron is going to go much lower. It would drop. It could drop to $40. That would be a devastating hit to that sector. What it makes me think is then the connector should go higher and then drop. Is what I'm thinking. But see, we had a pretty significant bounce. So I'll give you my honest opinion on Micron. I think it's got a bounce to trap more buyers coming. Maybe back up to this weekly trend line and then get rejected. So I think Micron will do something like this. And again, I don't like trading in here. I like being on the sidelines of Micron right here. But I know a lot of people like to trade this kind of. I wouldn't be surprised if it does something like this. And then we could lift this target higher. But I do think whatever happens here will fail and we'll have another leg lower. So that's what I think is going to happen with Micron, because if this doesn't happen and this was the top, then this is very bearish for the sector. The sector is going to get annihilated very soon. Crocs. Tagged the buy area exactly and went vertical. So more than likely this correction's done when you see that happen. It looks like a 1-2, 1-2 setup. Maybe Christmas is going to be really a good, I mean, look at totally a lot of capitulation there. It actually took out the whole thing. Let's take a look at this count. So you see how you have 3-wave moves up, and you took this out, but it almost looks like you took out the whole cycle from this low. Now you found support. So yeah, so the setups are there. So I think you need to hold this low. Is important to hold this low, and then a really bullish setup is emerging here. Right there, just like that. 1-2, 1-2, 1-2 setup. If this low breaks, then I think this could become a big connector for this leg, and then you'll have like a 1-2, 1-2, and then you're coming back to retest this area. So it's a very important level to hold, to have this hold where I have it right here. And it bounced where you expected it to. IONQ is one of those quantum stocks that pumped, and it's in the sell area right now. It didn't really have a good setup. I don't know why this one pumped so much compared to the others. can't quite, again, fundamentally, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it probably topped here. So could it extend? It's always possible. But I would be very careful in this area. Like, if I was a trader and I had been the whole, I would definitely be taking some profit here. Uh, maybe you could put your stop at this low and just see if it will just keep extending. Uh, and if it does, then Y pushes higher, and this is a WXY, and then you'll be looking at, potentially hitting triple digits. I mean, that would get you, if we could come back, if it could come back out and take out, $40, you'll be looking at $78 pump target. It'll just keep going. I mean, so I would, like I said, I think I think it's in danger that it's over, the pump's over. And looking at this structure here, looking at just everything, and then this, it could go all the way back down to this area again. Maybe it could find some support on this line, right around here, $7. But it should come all the way back. I mean, that's what I think will happen. But if we find support, then it's extending. And we did break this high, so there is a chance it could technically still extend. So I would say stay long as you're above this level here. United Airlines. I think obviously lower oil prices help the airlines as long as there's not a recession that's driving the lower oil. We should be in this 4 wave, should be getting one more push higher. Was that here? Yeah, it looks like we're in that 4 right now. So we should get like one more high. But yeah, I mean, I don't know like fundamentally why it would just collapse like I show it doing here. But if it's a 1 2 1 2, see, if I look at this, we did break this high. Could it be a 1 2 3 4 5? But you see how we took out all the momentum. So it's a 1 2 1 2. Could be a 1 2 3 of 3. And even if let's say it's the pattern. Hold on. It gets you to like 120. So, I mean, I wouldn't short it because I don't see a short setup. But perhaps at 120, if it hit 120, you could short that. But by then, you have to call it a whole different chart. It's a whole different chart. But if the shorter time frames, a lot of bearish divergence. I don't see the short setup right now until this 5th wave plays out with even more dramatic bearish divergence on the higher time frames, which you really don't have. You see the weekly will create bearish divergence. Then you could start thinking about shorting, and that's what this wave 5 will create, weekly bearish divergence when it happens. So that's what I think of United Airlines. I mean, if oil goes down because of a recession, well then this would get obliterated, right? Because airlines get obliterated in recessions. Because what's the first thing people cut in a recession? Travel freeze. All right, RGTI. Looks like you got that 3 in here and that 4, and so obviously, as you can see, there's more upside coming. But it can always erase divergence. You see that? Just like quantum qubits. This could be another 1 2. So I don't like it. Could keep pushing higher. So I don't. The shorter time frames. Let's see. Now that one actually does look like a 3. So maybe it's a little different than qubits. So I think this one. This one probably does have the wave 3 in. Now you're in 4, but it should keep grinding higher a little bit. until it comes to an end. But this will be a major area of support in the future right here. When this whole thing finishes, it should somewhere down here correct to. DXYZ. Let's see here. So the connector, the B wave extended, double corrected higher. So you have 3, a connector, and another 3. So let's take a look at the new target. It's right in the area. So it's in danger of reversing in this area right here. So I would be careful. 3. That looks like 5 up right here, 5 up. So 3. So maybe we're too bearish on this, and I think this will actually play out more. So yes, it will probably reverse here, but what I think is happening is you have some kind of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you'll pull back, and then come higher again, and then go low, something like that. So a lot of sideways choppy action I think is happening. Unless you can erase this divergence, which it doesn't look like. You see this whole cycle's about to end on the 4 hour to create this B wave. And if you look, if this is all wave 5 right here, if that's all wave, you'll lose this whole wave 5. It could come all the way back down to $21 even. But since it's 5 off the low, you have to be careful that you get this C leg. All right, so good luck with that. And PDD, should be trading with the Hang Seng. Let's take a look here. Still looking for it to tag $62. Looks like you're in the B wave right now of this. It could still bounce again, and like I said, like it could do 1, 2, 3. Probably will do that. It'll probably do something like this, and then fail and go lower. So that's what I would be looking for, something like that. SoundHound has been a home run for us on our channel. For the many people I know I follow me have gone long that when we started covering it. And let me find it. Here, I mean, we've had buy areas all along this thing. So now that you broke this high, let's take a look at where we are. I haven't updated the labeling on this yet, so let's see here. Lost track, so many wave 2s. So the bears really blew it on this one. I mean, they're getting destroyed. And this is where where they say if you're short, you can lose your entire account balance. This is an example of how that happens. What happens here. And I wasn't sure what the fascination was to short this stock, but there was a lot of people shorting it here, and it's really sad. They've lost a lot of money, and it's just going to keep. Look at all the wave 3s and 4s. So this has a lot more upside. I believe once this high gets taken out at 18, it will just continue to run. As you can see, we haven't even seen the RSI peak on the daily. Look, the daily we're still not in the 3 of 3. Look, you see we haven't taken, so we still haven't seen what many would call the easy money, even though this seems like it. So I would definitely not be looking to sell this. I would want to hold it and let this, gyrate around violently, and let this continue to squeeze higher. This will just continue to squeeze higher. This could easily turn into another 1-2, 1-2. Just keep extending. So I would just kind of sit tight and enjoy the money, because again we have been following this and talking about this way here. I think I even put on my Twitter, time to get interested in this here. And this one's really worked out. Okay, good luck on that. STAA. Hold on here. Star Surgical. You see how we broke that high? That's actually really bullish. This has such a dramatic pullback. So let's look at where we would buy that. And we don't really get a good target. There we go. So we're in the target area right now. Looks like you got 5 waves down. This is probably some kind of flat here or something. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So maybe not 5 waves. Maybe it's a 3-wave move with just a little divergence. So maybe you need to erase that divergence more. Maybe it's got some short-term downside still. But this cycle should be coming to an end very soon. And this is 1, 2, 1, 2 setup, right? 1, 2, and then another 1, 2. So that's the setup. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It had a dramatic, here's the wave 5, and you see you lost the whole wave 5, but now it's at the wave 4 support, and that's where we'll hopefully find the low. So they're about to have a really good product or something go really right with this company soon. I don't know what they do, what they make. Ophthalmic surgical products, so check their pipeline. I bet they're about to launch something that's going to be really, really good. That's what this chart is saying. GME, GameStop, we just say trust the chart. The chart has not let us down on what to do with it. So GameStop, let's take a look at where it's trading right now. If I can find it. So GameStop could be doing the 1, 2, 1, 2 setup for wave 5 pump, right? So I would still call it this, but we still have to recognize it could still be in wave 4. And if you get the dip back down to $25, $24, I would want to take that long. So we don't know. Now this does look like 5 waves down, so I wouldn't be surprised to see the dip. So there is a more bullish count, but it's in an area that we don't always see. You have 3, and then you have 3, but you see how you broke that low right there? That may be to tell that we will go lower and finish this wave 4 like that. So we'll have to wait and see how that plays out. But that's the chart right now. My guess is that we will go down and tag this area. Just looking at the waves and in that break, that low right there, it's possible. 1, 2 will come down. That's what I'm thinking, but you see here we erase divergence. So mixed signals. I think it's tough to say where we'll end up, but breaking that low could be the clue that it's gonna come down. UEC. UEC is one that sector is ready to roll. You just have to be patient. I mentioned earlier that if we got the breakout and failure, it'll turn into this flat pattern. And now we have either 1, 2, 1, 2 here. As long as we hold this area at 788 or 781, that should be the setup. Now if we end up breaking 781, then we're still in the flat pattern. We're still in the flat, and it could still continue to retrace down. But regardless of whatever situation happens here, the market in the future will be much higher from here. So you just have to withstand the volatility and whipsaw nature of the market here as the day traders blow themselves up, and they're trying to take, because there's going to be a big run in this given the higher high sequences I'm seeing. And then if you really look at the chart, it has a massive cup and handle which will break out, that goes back well over almost 20 years. So this will break out. It's almost almost highly likely it will, but there could be a lot of violent moves to get out the weak hands, so they don't have to share the money with you. So I think you're just gonna have to kind of, again, just kind of withstand this whipsaw. But right here was the flat, and we got the nice bounce. Looks like could be 5 and then 3 down, so it could be a 1-2, 1-2. They said this sector looks like it's ready to roll if this holds up. URA is also trading in this sector. That was another way to time the sector, the ETF for uranium. And that hits the buyer again at 28.50 after a beautiful move off the low in a three-wave move. So that also shows that this sector could launch right around here once we break this low. So it could be close. Okay. Baba, yeah, the chart on Baba's been working out nicely for us. I think Baba is one that we'll retest this low here at 68. That's what we're looking for. Now you see this bounce is pretty significant, so I think this structure is morphed into a different count. So we're gonna have to take another look at it. We'll have to relabel this a little differently. Let's see here. 1, 2. Yeah, we'll have to change it around just a little bit. Because of how it bounced. So I'll be looking for $69. It could be here. Already finished this bounce and we push lower. But we saw China also could have an intermediate, a little more upside on the connector, and then we fail later. But ultimately, I like to see it trade down to this area here, staying, now that the chart's changed, staying above this low for the 1-2, 1-2 setup. It's a 1-2, 1-2 setup. Like that. Something like that. That's what I'm thinking. All right, good luck on that. Tesla is, like I kept telling people, don't short it anymore. And again, there's a desire to short it, but you really shouldn't anymore, because Tesla can just keep erasing divergence now as it goes into, people just are chasing it because their fear of missing out is just too great. FOMO is too strong. Still got a big wave 5 though. Looks like a wave 3 of 5 here. Actually, yeah, finishing up. So again, it's stretched out. This wave 5 is stretched out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Actually, it should end at any moment, right? So if my labeling is right, it should end at any moment. It's kind of past resistance, which you see this throw over, and then boom, the market pulls it back down. So yeah, I think it's kind of, this cycle is pretty much over at any moment. This cycle here, this whole cycle looks like it. Now, if it erases divergence, then it's going much higher. It's a 1-2, 1-2, and it's just gonna go vertical as people just go crazy. And here's our ultimate target, 700, 750. All right, good luck on that. NVDL, I don't like buying that. NVIDIA should probably go lower, and I would not trust any long in NVIDIA right now. NVIDIA should at least see this area, but probably it will bounce and go lower. So NVDL is not something I would want to buy at all, given where I think that's going to go. So probably put that there, So the next area to buy this, if this is the count, would be, let's see, at 31.12. So I personally wouldn't be interested in buying it again until it hits this area here. And then UVIX, I gave that update. It should be, we should be seeing a spike higher soon at any moment, given the count, just like I have here. Maybe $6, somewhere in this area, at any moment. BBAI, that pump is pulling back, and again, it's setting up 1-2, 1-2s for something even more dramatic. So just like SoundHound, you just gotta have to be patient. At some point it'll run and break out of this 1-2, 1-2 setups. So we have a 1-2, 1-2. Here you have it looks like another 1-2. Yeah, another 1-2. Something like that. And it's too much divergence, so I would call that another 1-2. Something like that. So I would just, again, here's the 4, so it could still go down to 188, 185. I would, it could still come down to that area and then just push higher. And then GME, Sol, I'll type that in and see if that comes up. Yeah, it doesn't come up. I'm not sure this GME on Solana. I can't really help you there. So maybe this is it. Maybe I'll do this and see. I mean, it looks like to me, when I look at a chart like this, it looks like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you're in a connector wave here. I mean, that's what it looks like to me because of the sideways action. But that's 3 down, 3 up. We did break the high there. That's good. Yeah, so maybe something like this. And then a big pullback. And then out. So it's kind of like matches GME's count, right? Wave 4, we get a wave 5, and then we pull back, and then we come out. Something like that is what I'm thinking. Off of this low. So this has to hold. This support has to hold here, right? All that support has to hold. BCHG, my system doesn't do timing. So when you say short term, long term, I can't time it. I just know in the future we will be at this level in the future. But I mean, if you just kind of look at the trend it's been on right now, if I just kind of draw a line, right, kind of average through it, just average through that, we get there somewhere around probably end of next year, early 26, somewhere around there. I mean, again, I'm just kind of thinking, how this spiked up, this will come. So yeah, probably around there. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, but I can't time it. I don't know. There's no way to time the market, unfortunately. But I believe if you just look at look at the trend, look at the count, all you can say is, if this trend continues, I'm at $16 right around March and April. So that's what it says. All right, PALAF, let's do that. All right, so big 3-wave move down. Looks like you have 5 up here off the low, which is great. Right, and then you have 3, a connector and a break, so just a little bit more downside, just like you see most of the energy market needs more downside, right? So right there you need more downside. It's too low. I would be targeting between the 4 and the 2. in this situation. So I'd be trying to target right around this area as the low. And it looks like it needs more downside to get that capitulation to drive that erasure divergence. But obviously, it's a bull. It's in a new bull market, and then it should really explode out. It'd be a real good pump opportunity because if you can get it down here, right in the future, if you can get it down here at like $2, we could be trading in $20 in the future. All right, I think I covered everyone's comments, got through them all. Been on about a couple hours here. I think I covered everything. I'll scan through the notes and see if I missed something real quick, and then we'll cut it out. So let's see here. All right, I'm just reading through people's comments. There's really not much to say on what people have said today. I think I got through everyone's questions. Yeah, so what I'm looking for, Space Silver, FedEx, and I missed a few AMD. I don't like that sector. I don't like the AI sector to buy that long at the moment. Um, Bonds, I think rates are going to go higher, which will be the reason the market sells off hard, right? Which is what people don't expect to have happen. All right, yep. There's nothing else to say other than if you look at where the Dow Jones count is right now, we should be getting a relief rally and then more downside. And the SPY, it's kind of a guess here. If this wave 5 will continue to extend higher, we'll see big decision point for the 5, big decision point for technology, for the SPY and technology. IWM does look like also it needs a relief rally. So leaning towards upside, and then maybe toward the end of the week we could get a real dramatic sell-off, potentially big risk situation if we're in these wave 2. So we got to really keep an eye on things. But I know a lot of people are calling more like new highs and stuff. Like, I'd be really careful. Again, you're at the casino, you've won 15 hands in a row, and you're leaving, you haven't taken anything out of the, the pot, and you're just keeping it rolling and rolling. But at some point, you won't win anymore, and the casino will take all its money. So just understand that. At some point, you gotta understand that it just won't keep going up. I know there's always another dip to buy, or a 4 and a 5. There's always another 4 and a 5. There's some people I follow, it's always like, oh, it's just a 4 and a 5. Just keep going, keep going. At some point, though, that you will wake up and it will not be that anymore. There will be some situation that you didn't think about would happen, and will be a lot lower, and there'll be massive panic in the market, and you'll lose a lot of money. Because the market has to reset these divergences on the bearish side. There's too many bearish divergences that have to play out now. And the VIX is way too oversold. It just needs a catalyst. It's like Tinder. Once that catalyst emerges, this thing is gonna, flash crash lower, guys. It's gonna be brutal. Anyway, I'll talk to you guys later. And looks like I got one more super chat that came in here. Microsoft. All right, Microsoft, real quick. It's interesting. I don't get questions on the big cap tech, except for Tesla. I got, other than that, I don't like I used to early in the correction. Let's take a look at where we are. So with the break here, so we're still extended in the B wave. So we're still in this B wave connector, which is fine. I'm still looking for this final leg lower. So it looks like to me, now that we did a double correction higher, it's right in the sell area right here. So I personally wouldn't short it, but if it could take this high out, again, that would also be a warning sign that says that the market, the grand super cycle can't end just yet, even though we could still get a dramatic pullback to correct this whole leg. This still but this would be supported, and we would get a 3, 4, 5 like I show here. If we don't get that, this C leg does have the possibility to go all the way down. So this would be really interesting for the long-term structure of the market over the next 2 to 3 years. If we can break this high right here, this would tell me that even if we break this high and get this dramatic pullback in the market, if this is an A and a B and we get that dramatic pullback, correct the COVID lows, that this bubble and will continue. It will continue. If it doesn't do that, then the super bears have a chance of it being like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then this coming all the way down to 180, 160, which would end the grand super cycle. So this is very an important number right here, very important for the market right here, for bulls to beat that. But if they can't, we should get this deeper pullback, then more upside, which would extend the wave 5 grand super cycle. But you can't rule out just a complete unravel, right? Which is the bear's dream. So we just have to wait and see. But I don't look. It's pretty 3 waves, right? I don't like buying that here. If you short it, you definitely want to close that short above